guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name's Alexa, and in today's video I will be talking to you guys about the 15 books that I want to read in March. Now I know this March TBR is coming to you guys a bit early, but it is because I am leaving on vacation. So I'm leaving on the 28th, so my wrap-up will be filmed on the 26th and then edited on the 27th. So it won't be all the books that I read this year, but it'll be most of them this month, but I will be most of them. But yeah, so as always, I'm going to start with the 9 books that I have on my physical TBR that I want to read, and then we will go with the 6 books that aren't on my physical TBR that I do plan to read this month. And as always, I most likely won't read all of these books, but these are just the ones that I'm hopefully gonna read. Okay, I tried to set my camera further away from me or else, number one, the audio will be too loud, and then I also want to try different angles. And I feel like it's nicer like this because you get to see all of my books. So yeah, let's get started. First we have If We Ever Meet Again by Anna Huang. This book is the first book in her series that it's like 4 different books, and I think the first couple has 2 books. This is their original story, and I think the second one is their second chance romance, if I'm right, but I'm pretty sure. But this one I actually first listened to part of the audiobook a while ago, but it was right before Onyx Storm came out, and then I lost the audiobook. Basically, I didn't have it anymore on Libby, and there was too much of a wait time, but I now have it physically, so I'm gonna read it, and I'm hoping to read this maybe on vacation or just sometime soon. But yeah, I'm really excited, and when I first started it, I actually really did love it. Like, it was really a fun experience, but you know what, it's not the right time for that book, and I really want to give this book the best opportunity, and I somehow got this full series on Facebook Marketplace for $30. 4 books for $30, not for $4. So yeah, I'm really excited to get into this one, and I have a feeling that I'll most likely end up binging all the books like I did with the Twisted series. Next we have The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This one is one that was really popular on Book Talk, I would say maybe in 2021. And I randomly found it in a Goodwill not too long ago, so I bought it, and I just thought I would read it because I've been wanting to read it all this time. But for a while it was on Kindle Unlimited, then it got taken off, and then it got put back, and then it's this whole thing. Basically, this is about this girl, Kala, who when she wasn't even 2 years old, her mom took her and fled from Alaska, and leaving her dad leaving her dad in Alaska alone. And now that she's 26, like, she never went back. She lives in Toronto, lives a busy life, but then finds out that her dad, who she still isn't kind of in contact with, he's really sick and his days are numbered. So she decides to go back to Alaska, and then finds out that there's this kind of they described him as, so basically while she struggles to adjust to this new environment, Jonah the unkempt, obnoxious Alaskan pilot who helps keep her father's charter planes company operational. What am I even saying? Wait. But yeah, basically, like, she meets this guy, and then they have this whole romance. But in my head, kind of like the picture gives a bit spring vibes. Like, the fog, since the leaves are like really green and it's very foggy, it's giving spring, and I feel like March is really the start of spring, or at least the start of when I'm really like, okay, this is spring, even though there's still snow outside. But I just thought this would be the perfect month to read this. What was I even saying at this point? Next we have Love Naturally by Sophie Sullivan. This is a book about this girl, Presley, who's like really, think of like city girl, doesn't really go into the wilderness. Kind of me, actually. But actually I was in Scouts for a bunch of years, so I do go out into the wilderness and I could survive, but I don't do it by choice. You know, I was in Scouts for the friends, not for the camping. I hate camping. Basically, she is an accomplished concierge at an exclusive hotels in Great Falls, Michigan. She knows more about the top 10 places for champagne and caviar than she does about the best hiking boots for stopping around Lake Michigan. But when she surprises her boyfriend of 8 months to vacation to the Get Lost Lodge, and he dumps her instead, Presley decides to rough it solo and take the trip by herself. When Beckett Keller helps the gorgeous women off the rickety boat and onto Get Lost territory, it's clear to him that she's made a mistake. She doesn't like hiking, fishing, or nature in general, so why would she go on this trip? He's got other things on his mind, though, a crumbling lodge and his own plans and dreams that are forever deferred, so he doesn't have time for Miss Fish out of water. Even so, neither Beckett nor Presley can help that inexplicable draw that they feel towards towards each other. He's all rough stubble and plaid shirts, while she's all high heels and brand name athleisure wear. But you know what they say about love, opposite. Charming romance, love naturally is for anyone who ever stepped outside of their comfort zone and found that all the best things can happen when you take a chance. But like, this cover is so cute. And originally I thought it was a cowboy romance, and actually that's how I described it when I did my weekly TBR post. Because originally this was supposed to be for a video that ended up not happening. But let's just say I was very embarrassed when the author commented and said, oh, this isn't a cowboy romance. And I was like, girl, I'm so sorry, but I know I'm gonna love it either way. But yeah, this is actually, I feel like I'm gonna relate to that character because I am kind of like that. Like, I was in Scouts, but I'm still not a very much outdoorsy person. I'd rather stay inside. Next we have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. This is a book that I've been wanting to read for so long, and I found it in, you'll never guess it, a Goodwill. And I was like, I need to read it because it looks so cute. And basically it's about this girl, Viv, who decides that she's like, okay, I'm gonna stop being an adventurer, blah blah blah. Like, it's a fantasy, it's a cozy fantasy. She's like, I'm gonna retire, I'm gonna become just a normal person. And it's kind of like, imagine if a character from Dungeons and Dragons decided to like retire. And that's the whole premise of it. And it's just, yeah, trying to slow down life, even though like you still have that past and like still have rivals. And yeah, she's just trying to open the first ever coffee shop in this city, and it's just a very cozy, low stakes fantasy. After that we have Foxglove by Adeline Grace. Now this one is one that I can't really tell you guys what it's about since it is the sequel to Belladonna. But basically the first one, Belladonna, is about this girl, Signa, who whenever she comes in contact with someone, they kind of, and like she stays at their house and all that, they die. Someone dies, at least one of the two. Like, if she stays with multiple people, one person dies. And she has this like whole thing where she can't really die, and she knows when death is coming because death is kind of a personified character in this whole thing, and she kind of has a romance with death. But this one is the sequel, and it's kind of like, think of if a fantasy series and like a mystery book had a child. Like, there's a bit of a mystery that they're trying to unsolve. It's a bit of creepy vibes, but it's also beautifully written, and it has amazing covers. Next we have Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. This one is the first book in the Avalon Bay series. And if you didn't know already, I'm trying to get through Elle Kennedy's backlog. Like, I really want to get through as many of her books as I can. And I actually own this full series because I found the box set of all 3 books for $19 at Books A Million. So I got it immediately, even though I haven't ever read any of these books. But I just thought this would be a fun beach summer romance, and I'm going to Florida basically on vacation, so I'm gonna be in the heat at the beach, so I just thought this would be a perfect read for me since, like I said, I'm gonna be at the beach. Next we have Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This one I kind of want to know I looked up the vibe online, but I kind of wanted to go in blind into this book and not fully know what's gonna happen, because I know it's gonna hurt, and like I saw the trigger warnings, but sometimes there's just books where I don't necessarily want to read the full blurb, but I'll like read the 2-sentence blurb on the back. But yeah, this one is one of those books, and the 2-sentence blurb is, her brother's best friend broke her heart, but what happens when his new teammate wants to put it back together. And it's kind of, I think it's a romance that takes place on the beach, and I'm gonna be at the beach once again, so I want to read this. But I also am scared that I'm gonna be very sad at the end, but I'm ready. Like, I know that I'm gonna be sad and I know what I'm going into, but I know it's gonna emotionally wreck me forever and do irreparable damage. By the way, I am being dramatic when I'm saying that. I'm not being 100% serious. Next we have Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This one is the second book in the whole Powerless trilogy, although there is a little novella that I read recently that takes place in between the first and the second book and the third book. So the third and final book is coming out in April, so I thought I would read this one this month. And my friend told me to wait until this month to read this one, so this is what I'm doing. But I'm not going to tell you much what this one is about, because if you haven't read the first one, it's going to fully spoil the first one. But the first book is about this girl, Peyton, who saves the prince of a kingdom. And in that kingdom, people who don't have any powers, who are, I think they call them, not mundanes, but they have another word, like regulars or something like that, they get killed because they're apparently taking like them not having powers is removing powers from the people who do have powers. Like, it's diminishing their whole power source. But Peyton is this girl who has gone her whole life without having any powers and living in secret about not having powers. And basically, since she saves this prince, she's sent into these like whole trials at the rich castle of like where the kingdom is. But she lives in like poor parts and it's mostly rich people and the whole thing. But yeah, basically it's a very cool fantasy book that kind of has a Hunger Games Red Queen vibe. And I'm really excited for this one. And I'm really excited for the third one, but I'm scared for the ending. And I know people have been disappointed by this one, but I'm not really scared because a lot of the times when people tend to not really like a book by a certain author, I tend to really like it. So, and I'm not difficult to please. The last physical book we have is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is a book that I've had for almost a year now, and I've procrastinated reading. Basically what happened is I was in a slump when I got this one. So I was like, okay, I'll wait until I kind of get out of the slump so that I can read this book, because I love Emily Henry books, but they'll only like hit really hard if I'm not in a slump. So if I'm in a slump, I'm really not gonna like it as much. But then I got scared to read it because Emily Henry is one of my favorite authors of all time, and I haven't read it yet. And I was like, wait, what if I don't like it? And then I've been scared to read it, and then so much time has passed since this one released, and I'm still terrified to read it. But I decided it is time. Her new book, Great Big Beautiful Life, is coming out in April, so I must stop being scared of Emily Henry's books. Well, no, not her books, and I'm not scared of her, but like I must stop being scared of reading this book because it's time, you know? I need to stop being a scaredy cat. The first ebook basically the first book that I don't own physically that is on this list is one of my most anticipated books of this year, and that is Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This one is the third and second to last book in the Rose Hill series. The last one is coming out in September, and basically this is a whole series that takes place in the Chestnut Springs area-ish. Like, it's the way I describe it is Chestnut Springs adjacent, I guess. Like, every now and then you'll see characters from that series be in this series, but it's like it's its own thing, you know? It's not like a direct continuation, but you'll see characters from it every now and then. But this one is about also in the Rose Hill series there is one single parent per book. So like in the first two ones it was single dad, and this one it is kind of single mom, but it's like her nephew, she got the guardianship of her nephew. And it is about this girl who, and I think it is a marriage of convenience, at least I'm pretty sure, with her enemy and this guy that she's been beefing with the entire time through the first two books, because there's kind of like this bowling league where it's mostly single dads, but Reese has been there in the other books. Reese is a wrestler and he's not a single dad, but he's been in the bowling league. And then every now and then you'll see this girl, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name, but she's the best friend of at least I'm pretty sure she's the best friend of the main character in the first book, like the female main character. So basically you see them beefing in the background and like hating each other, and then randomly at one point in Wild Eyes you see just they come in together to the bowling alley, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're married. And then everyone's like, what? You've been like literally fighting for the past how much time? What's going on? And I guess we're gonna see what happened in this book, so I'm really, really excited about that. Okay, the next one is a book that will technically not be out until May 20th, but I did receive an ARC of, and I really, really want to read it soon because it is probably my most anticipated ARC, and it is Left of Forever by Tara Dewitt. This one is the second book, like the one that comes after Savor It, which I read this month. Let's say last month, but no, it is February, the month that I read it in. And this one is a second chance romance. It is about Ellis and Ren, and basically they used to be married, they had a kid together, but then they broke up. But then in Savor It, you could see them like pining for each other still. Like they're still in love with each other. They weren't good together for that while. Probably like right person, wrong time, I guess. But it is a second chance romance, and I'm so excited about it because I've heard nothing but great things from the other ARC reviewers, and I need to read it ASAP. After that we have The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This one is kind of described as if Magnolia Parks was like a skating book. No, Magnolia Parks and Daisy Jones and the Six like the style of writing of that one, had a child, and it was about figure skating kind of. And it's about these two people like who figure skated together for, like they did couples figure skating for the longest time ever, and like it's kind of a love story, but kind of a bit not really like not actually toxic, but just not a like linear passage like in all the other romance books that you read. Like it's more of the Magnolia Parks type, but I've heard that it's really good. And I did figure skate for a long, well, 2 years. I was like a figure skater, and I love reading romance books where one is a figure skater, because it kind of brings me back to when I used to do that. So I'm just really excited about it, like to read it. Next we have A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. Yes, we have another Elsie Silver book in this list, TBR, because I want to read Elsie Silver's Gold Rush Ranch series, and this one is about Violet Eaton, who is the sister of all of the Eaton brothers that we see in the Chestnut Spring series. And basically it is about her and this guy who they kind of knew each other before, but they both stayed anonymous, so like they were online chatting, I guess, but he knows who she is, she doesn't know who he is. And I've heard that like it's kind of a billionaire romance. I don't know, I kind of have no idea what it's about, but I know it's an Elsie Silver book, and if it's an Elsie Silver book, you know I love it. I've never disliked a book that she wrote. I have really loved every single book that I've read by her, and I've read 8, so I think she's got a really good track record. She's one of my auto-buy authors, and I've now at least started every single, like there's one that I finished, one that I read every book that's out, and now I read the first book in this series, so I've started at least every single book series that she ever wrote. And I would even read her grocery list if that's what, like, if that's what was the only thing that I could read, I would read her grocery list. Alright, next we have Fairytale by Veronica Lancet. This one is one that, once again, I kind of want to go in blind. I really do love going in blind with books. I like looking at what the general idea is, and I'll read the trigger warnings always, just because I'm like, if there's certain things in a book, I won't read it. But I've heard really good things, and it kind of has a gothic vibes, and gothic vibe, not vibes. And a few of the people that I love on like watching on booktube and all that, I know loved it. I know Laura Reeds, I think that's her name now, but she used to go by Laura Paper or something Paperback, Laura's Paperback or Paperback Honey or something like that. But she loves this book. It has one of her favorite book boyfriends, so I thought I would read it because if she recommends it, I'll read it. And I love a good gothic romance book. Like, you know, I loved Noctis Acadia, I really liked Gothic Hana, so this one will be perfect for me. Lastly, we have Rewriter Story by Kat Singleton. This one is the first one in the Sutton Mountain series, and if you guys didn't know, I have read the entire Black Ties and White Lies series and absolutely loved it. The third one being Bright Nights and Summer Lights being my favorite of the series. And I've been really wanting to read her other books, and I actually signed up for an arc of her book that's coming out in April, her like newest series. So I was like, I'm gonna read more of her books. Jesus Christ, I can't even speak anymore, because I really want to like get into her vibe, her like really see all of the books that she wrote. This one I think came out after Black Ties and White Lies, the first one. So basically I think it was like Black Ties and White Lies, the first 2 books in this series, and then she wrote Pretty Rings and Broken Things, then she wrote the last one in this series, and then she released Bright Lights and Summer Nights. I'm pretty sure, or maybe she did 1-1-1-1. But I just know that this one is a second chance romance, brother's best friend series that I'm pretty sure is in a small town in, if I can remember right, it's in Colorado. And I know we see some of the characters from this series. Can't remember if it's these 2, but we see them in Bright Lights and Summer Nights and like in that whole series. So I'm just so excited to read it, and I'm so excited to get back into her writing. I really love her books. They are so addicting. Like, you know, there's an author sometimes who are just like, every single time I read one of her books, I just can't help but fully binge it, like read it from start to finish in like 24 hours. And she is one of those authors. So I'm just so excited to read it. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, because it really helps with the engagement of this video, and it really makes sure that I know that you guys really love the videos that I'm publishing and that you guys want to see more of it. If there's any other video types you would like me to do, or specific reading, like specific books for reading vlogs, book series, or like a specific types of book that you would want me to read in a reading vlog, then definitely make sure that it's like that you comment that, or even I could do like you guys could comment like books that are hated by certain books that you know like Book Talk doesn't like and you want me to read them because you're like, oh, I don't want to read it, but I want someone else to read it to give me their opinion and like read the entire process. Well, I can do that for you because I have Kindle Unlimited and too much time on my hands. So, and yeah, but other than that, if you want to see my other content, I am on basically every other platform. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Lemon8 now, the new Tome, the new like book app. What else? For a while I almost joined RedNote when TikTok was being banned. Like I'm basically on most platforms, all at the username Life with Alexa Jean, so you can always find me there under that username with the same profile picture. So I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day. I will see you guys on Saturday probably when I will be posting about the probably 20 something 30 books that I read this month because it's been a chaotic reading month. But yeah, I love you guys, and as always I will see you next time.